I remember just looking at him and going, what am I doing?
It's just a difficult game, a lot more difficult than I gave it credit for.
I would love to watch him doing something like Peaky Blinders.
Jake, with you stepping into the role of an MMA fighter and Conor making his debut as an actor, what would you say is the biggest thing that you learned from Conor, and what advice did you give to him in acting as well?
It's funny, when Conor first started on the film, when he first called me, he said, I'm a white belt in making movies and in acting, and I'm here to learn. And I thought to myself, well, it's the same thing in the opposite direction in the fight game, so I'm here to learn from him too. So the very first scene we ever shot was that face-to-face like headbutt that we do in the movie, and I remember just looking at him and going, what am I doing? And then I thought, you know what, I'm sure he might be thinking a little bit the same thing. It's his first time on a set shooting a movie for the first time. So in a weird way, the whole thing came together in this that's what I think makes the movie so unique, is like you bring the real world of actual fighting into the fictional world of making movies, and you got Roadhouse.
Were you surprised at how good he was with his acting?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's like, the movie's like super great and super fun, and it's sort of like moving like this, and then he arrives and it's just like, it's a rocket ship. So yeah, I think he's fantastic in it.
What would you say was the biggest thing you both took from his craft as well? Because you landed a hell of a punch on the boat as well.
She does.
Yeah.
So what would you say is the biggest thing you took from his craft?
From his craft. I mean, I wish my fight training was with him. But Steve Brown is amazing too.
They're amazing.
But what we learned, I mean, I don't know. I'm still learning things with him every day, and with the press tour, it's amazing to watch him play the Conor character as well.
For me, when we were doing the fight sequences, we'd go back, we'd look at the monitor, and then he'd be giving me direction, ideas, and new things, how I move my body, where I was throwing my punches. When we were grappling, he was instructing me through actually a lot of that, even while we're filming, like telling me, when I have in that last fight, I have him in that headlock, and I'm sort of choking him out, and then he was saying to me as I was, he instructed me how to do it, and then he was like, wrap the leg, wrap the leg, wrap your left leg, wrap your left leg, so I was like, it was just a strange irony, but he was coaching the whole time. It was pretty fun.
That's so wild. You had Conor McGregor in a chokehold.
Telling me how to choke him out. I know, it was like, it's only in the movies,
So you've seen Conor act now. What other narrative would you want him to take on? Would you want him to take on a rom-com, maybe in his next film, or a thriller?
I would love to watch him doing something like Peaky Blinders, because as I was watching him doing the accent and his voice tone,
Yeah,
it's like,
that's
why
a
not?
really good idea.
Yeah, we'll have a whack at that, no bother. I was supposed to be in the Vikings. The Vikings had me teed up. I was, and I had a few things teed up, but I just kept pushing it along down the line. But I just stayed in the fight business. I always said I'm in the fight business, not the movie business. And ultimately I ended up letting people down over that, because I was like teed up to do a full season, and it just never happened at the moment. But let's see what happens.
Daniela, I heard you didn't know how to drive a boat before
Yeah.
coming into this film, even though you said you could. Talk me through that, and I'll ask you both this as well, is there any instances where you've also maybe bent the truth on a CV in terms of trying to land the role? Because, we've all lied on a CV. I'm not going to say what my lie is, but we all have.
I think for the Marlowe movie, the movie that I shot with Neil Jordan, I remember him asking me if I could nail an American accent, and I was like, of course. I was like, yeah, of course. That's workable, that's doable. And then it was a little bit of a challenge, of course.
But surely you knew that you were going to get caught out, because...
Yeah, of course. No. But I was like, that's I can work on it. I didn't promise to be American, but I tried my best.
By the way, also, you're amazing. Your accent and everything in the movie is amazing.
Thank you.
But I mean, like, to me, probably fighting. I remember the first film I did, this film Southpaw, where I played a fighter. I didn't know how to box at all. I wasn't shy about it. But when they were like, oh, what do you know? I'm like, oh, I box a little, but like, I particularly also hear like MMA and grappling. My dad was a wrestler in high school, that he would like teach me some moves, but I knew very, very little.
Because you've practiced karate, you've practiced a little bit of MMA now.
I have, yeah.
I've seen you training for this film, and mate, it looked tough. I don't think I could do it.
You can do it.
No, I don't have the abs. But
You can do it.
yeah, so If you were to give MMA a full go, and this was when you were younger, not when now, but if you were to give it a
thanks.
full go, I mean, you could still do it now, but if you were to do it when you were younger, how far do you reckon you could have done if you went through MMA full time at a young age?
I would go nowhere.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the skills in anybody's job is to understand your strengths and your weaknesses. You know what I mean? And you need to find the places where you excel, and that is definitely not a place that I would excel. There was a moment when I remember I was doing Southpaw where I thought I was sparring a lot, and I felt like, okay, I get into this maybe amateur space, but I'm pretty sure I'd have a terrible record. So.
Yeah, so the influencer scene isn't for you then. But if there was, who would you think would be a perfect matchup?
An influencer?
Yeah, so in the UK, influencer boxing. So, Jake
Paul,
Paul
influencer boxing.
Like
you know who I love? Who is that wonderful guy who does the train stuff? He's a great. What's his name?
Francis.
Yeah, Francis. He's fantastic. So
you'd fight him though.
No, I don't want to fight
That's
Francis.
what you meant.
I think Francis could probably beat me up. So not fight, just to hang out on a train. Are you kidding me?
In terms of MMA versus acting, which industry is tougher? And I don't mean just because you need to fight as well, but to get to the top of MMA or to get to the top of acting, which would you say is the toughest?
You know, the craziest thing that I heard Conor say was when he finished doing this film, he was like, I come from a tough game, but he's like, this is so tough what we did. I think he didn't anticipate how many times we'd have to do everything physically, how many times we have to put ourselves and risk certain things over and over again. I mean, to me, from my perspective, the fight game is a profoundly tougher situation, but each takes, I think, heart and skill, belief in oneself, and the ability to really. I mean, what I love about that martial arts is it's called the arts, and it's mixed martial arts, and performing and being an actor and creating and telling stories is an art too, and there are actually a lot of similarities in that space, even though it's very different game. But I don't know. I think for anybody to do what they love or to keep, it just takes heart. So, but I would rather be in our game.
Acting.
Why is that?
Time consumption. And it's not just action and fighting and stunts. It's also memory in the line, and you have to time things correctly. You're engaging with another person. It's just a difficult game, a lot more difficult than I gave it credit for.
And is the British food going down well?
British food has been amazing for a long time.
Delicious.
British food
You need
is
to try a Wigan kebab.
a Wigan kebab, absolutely. Yeah.
It's a pie in a bread roll. It's really
Okay,
nice.
all right.
100%.
Good for the abs. Yeah.
Great for
Yeah.